Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Harvey. Yes, you clicked on it, you must have heard of it. It's from 1950. Yes, I am stepping outside of my comfort zone and watching an older movie. Not only am I not watching a brand new release, which I always like to watch, it's the new releases. I hate going back and watching something that I've seen already. This I have not seen, but this is an old movie, and this comes based on the suggestion of some subscribers. My wife then recommended this one. My uncle happened to say it's one of his favorite movies of all time. It stars James Stewart, and basically he has an imaginary friend who is a rabbit, and James Stewart does, and his family thinks he's insane, but maybe he's smarter than he seems, because he starts mending some family relationships or something like that. I don't know, got a brief idea of what it was. Maybe you've heard of it. I don't know. I'm going to get into it here a little bit, see what it's really about, and see if this works. See if anybody decides to watch this review. So, this is my first experiment going all the way back to 1950. So, stick around. I'll be back. Hey everybody, read the credits of Harvey. Sorry there's no check-ins, but I have to be honest, I actually turned it off initially. I started watching it, and it's in black and white, whatever, and seeing the acting, and James Stewart hasn't been introduced at, well, a slight in the beginning he was there, but then it's more about his sister and his niece, and I was just like, I don't know if this film's for me, to be honest with you. And I actually turned it off when I went to Netflix to find something else, and then I was like, you know what, if I'm ever going to watch one of these, I got to do it tonight. I've already started, I'm 6 minutes into it, so let me start it over. So I did. And it's a peculiar film. First of all, James Stewart is fabulous. I like him. I think I've only ever seen him in one or two other films. It's a Wonderful Life being one of them, of course. But he's got, the character he plays is this good-hearted, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth person who feels it's his job or it's his natural ability to make other people feel good. And throughout the entire movie, he's interacting with people in a very honest way. He's not faking it, I can't think of the term, but makes really people that he's truly interested in what they're saying, makes them feel good about themselves, how they look, that kind of thing. He's a very genuine person. Now, his character has this puka, they call it. So he's a 6'3" rabbit that only he can really see, and maybe some other people, select people, can see him. Because of this, he, his sister and his niece believe he's crazy and should be put into the mental institution. And to compound the fact, his mother died prior to this, leaving him all of the money and his sister none. So, there's some of that there where she can inherit everything if maybe he gets put away. That isn't as plain to see. But as this film goes on, he continues to interact with other people. So he's going into the mental institution, meeting doctors and nurses, and again using his natural charm and his ability, even though he's standing next to a 6'3" rabbit that we don't see, he starts to impact their lives, everyone, and I think that's what the story is about what a great, wonderful person he is. And he says this quote in the film that he says his mother said, either be pleasant or be smart. And he said, for 35 years, I think he's 42 in the film, like for 35 years I was smart, and then I made the decision to become pleasant, and I couldn't be happier. And that's how he is in this film. He's just pleasant, engaging with everybody, as I said, very genuine, interested in everybody, and makes everybody around him feel good. So he starts, because of this whole comedy of errors, if you will, where they try and get him into the mental institution, and he meets other people, and as he's meeting these other people and introducing them to Harvey, and in doing everything that he does, he's starting to build relationships. He gets people connected. He starts mending his family his aunt his niece and his sister, along with everybody else that he meets along the way. He makes everybody's day just a little bit better. But the whole film, like, kind of touches on alcoholism. He likes to go out and have a drink. Now, he didn't ever show him drunk, but he's always like, hey, let's go have a drink kind of thing. Drink a couple martinis, whatever. It has that. The puka is from Celtic mythology, so it mixes in some of that, a little bit of magic, if you will, and a little bit of mental illness, all wrapped into one big movie here. So, while it's interesting to come out of my comfort zone and watch a movie this old, and the way that they make the film, and the things that they say, just the phrases that they use back in the 1950s compared to today and today's acting, and how, I don't want to say advanced, but there's so many changes, like just the scenery that they use, and costumes, and special effects, all that kind of stuff is all wiped away here, and it's just really bare bones kind of film. But in the end, it all still has a really good story and has really good acting, at least from James Stewart. Everybody else, whether you take it or leave it, but that wasn't the point of it. It was the fact that, one, the type of character that he was, and what he did to people, and how he interacted with them, and how he made them feel, and two, how he really made you believe that he sees this puka, this rabbit next to him, as he interacts with him, and isn't like ashamed to hide him or anything like that. Just wants to introduce him to everybody in the world, and it's his job and Harvey's job to make everybody's day better. So, a very interesting film. I wasn't sure exactly how I felt coming out of it. I knew going into it, I was like, I don't want to watch this film. I turned it off. Something drew me back to it. I ended up watching it, and it's interesting. Like, I don't want to ruin the ending or anything like it. It's definitely a different film. Like, I had assumed at the end of this film there would be more closure, if you will. And I can't say that there was. For me, anyway. Good film, good story. They had the opportunity for him to lose the rabbit, and it could change the type of person that he was. And so, do they want to do that and risk the type of person that Dowd was? That's his last name. And lose a rabbit, whatever. Anyway, so there's not a lot of closure in it, which made me feel different. But I think that's good too, because everything else does. Not every movie has to be wrapped up in a pretty bow, and they did. They wrapped it up. There's a bow. I'm not sure if it was pretty. Not that it was ugly, but it's hard to. Who cares about that? Don't worry about that part of it. I'm sorry, I'm rambling on, trying to explain to you my feelings coming out of the movie, but you have to watch it yourself all the way through to the end, and maybe you'll understand where I'm coming from. But I definitely think it's worth it. If you haven't seen this movie already, check it out. It was an hour and 44 minutes, and definitely interesting if you're not used to these types of films, and this one in particular. So I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went back to it. I would have been upset if I didn't watch it. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more. Check it out if you do. If you've already seen it, leave me comments. If you check it out, if I enticed you, leave me comments. I'd love to hear from you. Let's see how many views this gets, and if this is of interest to other people, I will continue to go back to the archives and find more movies like this, a little bit older movies, instead of just doing all the new ones. So, thanks for tuning in tonight. Kimmel's Irish Pub.